Welcome to day 3 of the Nco and Officer revals. This video will be different, but I'll go ahead and give y'all a yep-a-rooney since there might not be too many of those today. With that being stated, today we're going to talk about mentorship and responsibility. Up to this point, most of our trainings have focused on command, issuing orders, enforcing standards, and maintaining discipline. All of that matters, and none of it will go away. But command alone is not enough to sustain a unit. Command tells people what to do. Mentorship shapes how they think, act, and grow when no one is watching. This is where leadership moves from controlling behavior to building people. Because remember, we're an Eternal Vigilance Fleet family. We're here to support your Warhammer career and you as a person. Going into the segment of instruction versus development, let's start with the difference between instruction and development. Instruction is task-focused. It fixes today's problem. Instruction answers questions such as what needs to be done, how should it be done, what standards must be met right now. Instruction is necessary, without it nothing functions. But instruction creates leaders who must always be present. It creates subordinates who wait to be told what to do. Development, however, is different. Development prepares someone for tomorrow. It builds judgment, confidence, and decision-making ability. Development answers questions such as, why does this matter? What should you do if the situation changes? How do you make the right call when guidance isn't available? A leader who only instructs gets compliance. A leader who develops gets capability out of his members. As leaders, you are responsible for both. You correct actions in the moment, you shape behavior over time. If you only fix problems, the same problems will keep reoccurring. If you develop the people themselves, problems begin solving themselves. We're here to train people up to be competent within their own actions, not just fix every issue they come to us with every single moment of the day. We want them to be problem solvers themselves, and or make it where problems can't come up at all. Next thing up, understanding motivation and challenges for these people. To develop people, you must understand them beyond performance. Performance does not exist in a vacuum. A person's output is influenced by competence, stress, experience, fear of failure, and their past leadership experiences. A capable member may struggle, not because they are unwilling, but because they're uncertain. Uncertainty does not always look like hesitation. Sometimes it looks like frustration. Sometimes it looks like disengagement. Sometimes it looks like mistakes that they may make. If you assume the cause without understanding it, your correction will miss the mark. This leads back into what we were talking about yesterday about tone, where Marwin did bring up perception, being able to perceive how a person thinks and acts and or what they're currently going through helps you to decide when to use the proper tonnage. This is why listening is an active leadership skill. Listening is not waiting for your turn to talk. Listening is gathering information so that your response is accurate. When leaders talk more than they listen during mentorship, they often solve the wrong problem. When leaders assume instead of ask, trust erodes. People do not need leaders who already know everything. They need leaders who are willing to understand those issues, help them grow from these issues. Next segment, we're going to be going over trust, respect, and cohesion. Trust and respect are not granted by rank. They are earned through consistency, like we talked about on day 1. People watch leaders closely, especially when things are difficult. They'll notice who shows up, who follows through, who corrects fairly, who disappears when things get uncomfortable. Trust is built when leaders are predictable in the best ways, such as standards being enforced consistently, correction being fair, when their praise is genuine, and expectations are clear. Respect grows when leaders invest time and effort. Mentorship reinforces our squad cohesion because it signals commitment. When people believe their leaders are invested in their growth, they must invest back into the unit. This is how squads become teams instead of collections of individuals. One of the most important responsibilities of mentorship is encouraging initiative. Most people do not lack that initiative because they're lazy. They lack initiative because they're afraid. They could be afraid because they could be afraid of being corrected publicly, being blamed for honest mistakes, or being labeled unreliable after trying their best. Initiative grows when mistakes are treated as learning opportunities rather than personal failures. This does not mean standards disappear. However, going back to how we talked about day 2, perception, do your best to make them learn from their mistake, not just berate them for fucking up. Standards remain firm, tone and intent do change. Once again, like day 2. Over-control suppresses their growth. If every decision is second-guessed harshly, people stop making decisions altogether. Good leaders allow controlled risks. They give guidance, set boundaries, step in when needed, but allow people to learn through experience. A unit with initiative adapts faster than one that waits for orders. We're going into a new segment, being the mentorship framework. Mentorship is not instinctive for everyone. That is why we are going to use a framework that I have set up. Mentor, guide, listen, correct, and support. To mentor is to commit to someone's development, not just their output, but their growth. Back over day 2, we were talking about no favoritism. However, that does not mean we do not want bonds through our members. We are an Eternal Vigilance Fleet family. You want these people to grow and learn. You got to be that mentor for them. You, as NCOs and officers, are that guiding growth. To guide is to set direction without walking every step for them. Guidance is not micromanagement. We don't always have to tell them exactly what to do. You give them what they need and help them out when they need it or where they need it. To listen is to understand before correcting. Correction without understanding creates resistance. Our lovely MPs do their best to listen to a full situation before they act. This should go for every single one of you. Depending on how a situation happens, you can easily point the blame immediately. However, that may not be the case. It could have been a complete separate issue, and or you are going to fuck up and yell at the wrong person. You gotta listen to folk. To correct is to be clear, calm, and constructive. Correction should explain what needs to change and why. You're able to help them correct their actions, not just fix their actions, but use that as a learning moment, as we were talking about earlier. Correction. You've got to understand what their issue is, fix that, do your best to fix that issue, and then hopefully have them learn from that and continue to growth. To support is to follow up. Support reinforces trust and shows that correction was meant to help, not punish. Do always, when giving guidance to members, check back in. I know there are a lot of us, and it may be a little hectic to, find every single person you're helping out. But when you have time, make sure they're still doing good. Make sure they're actively doing what they're supposed to, and continue to give them tips. This cycle repeats. Remember that. Mentor, guide, listen, correct, and support. Mentorship is not just a single conversation. It's an ongoing process all the time. When correction comes before listening, trust is damaged. And when support follows correction, trust is strengthened. Consider this scenario. A new recruit tells you that they're not sure they can keep up. This moment matters more than it seems. False praise is not leadership, and ignoring the concern is definitely not leadership. As a leader, you should acknowledge their concern, reinforce effort and progress, and set achievable next steps. If this member is not feeling good in their capabilities to be whatever they are, you help them with that, such as, you may not be too good right now, but here's how we're going to help you. Give them goals to move towards. Help them figure out how to gain that self-confidence. Because again, as a family, we're not just here to make you the best tippy-top soldiers out there. We are a family. Yep, Aruni, that's right. I'm going to say it again. Family. You got to help these people grow not only in the fleet as an Astartes sister guardsman, but as themselves, as they are. We help inside and out of group. Your responsibility is not to convince people that they're perfect, it's to help them improve. When people believe improvement is possible, confidence follows. Every day there should be some form of mentorship going on. It is a responsibility you hold as NCOs and officers. For the remainder of this program, I will expect you to exceed a daily mentor meritee contract. These interactions do not need to be long, they just need to be consistent. Leadership does not only happen in formal settings, mentorship can become a part of daily leadership. A quick check-in, a follow-up question, a short correction done properly. These moments add up. Before we close this, do reflect on these things. Who mentored you in your own journey? Not who had authority over you, but who actually shaped you. What one of our members helped you become what you are today? What behavior from them made the biggest difference in your growth here with us? What did they do consistently, not once, but repeatedly? Having a pattern fully helped you out whenever you needed it. What did they do? This is the standard you should aim to pass on. Leadership that ends with you is command. Leadership that continues through others is mentorship. If you develop people, the unit grows stronger even when you're not present. That is the responsibility of leadership. And that will be all for today's video. However, I remind you all out there, demerits and bonus points can be given out throughout the week. With that being stated, I will be checking in. You don't have to pick a specific person. However, I do want to see that leadership given. I want to see you mentor these people. You want to be a parental figure, a guiding figure, the fucking emperor if you feel it that way, and guide them to be not only better within the chapter, help them fix their issues, but help them be a better person in general. Our rules strengthen the fact that we're not just good here, we're good everywhere. Our rules do help people figure out how to be a better person in real life just as much as they do here. Do your best to treat these people like they are your children. They practically are. They are your subordinates. However, that does not mean they are any less family just because of rank. Want you people to help and guide these individuals. With that being stated, I do think, Rooney, that is all. So, I hope to see you all at the next training day, where we will be going over... Man, I love finding my documents. Where, on day 4, we will be going over discipline and unity, reinforcing the role of discipline in creating freedom and consistency across this fleet. Hope to see you all there. Hope to have you all for the next event. Cut!